Welcome to the Daily Accelerated Growth Call for Tuesday, December 8th, 2015. Let's start off, as always, with a moment of calm. That always sets the right tone for me for the day. And of course, the way I do it when I'm actually doing it on my own is I use the app and I do the prescribed 10-minute meditation that calm.com has you do. From what I've read, they suggest that you do it first thing in the morning. I often do it at night because it helps me get to sleep and it helps me stay asleep better. And frankly, on the days when I do it both times, morning and night, are the days when, especially when I get in the routine of doing that, I posted on Facebook about that not long ago, that I was starting to notice a real change in the way I was reacting to things when I was getting into that habit of, doing things that consistently and with that kind of frequency. So what are we talking about today? I'm really just going to touch on some of the things that I've noticed coming up around the internet in the groups that I participate in. One thing that came up that struck me, and it comes up often enough that this time around it struck me as something I really wanted to spend a minute talking about. Somebody asked in one of our, actually not one of our groups, our group here, Between Wall and Main. This is my new group on Facebook that I've joined forces with Stacy Kildall to sort of curate and create. She had a group already going, and we just sort of morphed it into Between Wall and Main. And it's grown very quickly in a very short time. It's been live in this new form for a little over a week. We already have 428 members with new ones coming in every single day. So join us here at facebook.com/group/ Between Wall and Main. Klout scores are scores that if for example, I go here on Sprout Social. Let's see. Let's just pick on someone. Here's Stacy Kildall, Speak of the Devil. Let me click on her. And Sprout Social lets me know that her Klout score is a 67. 67 is very good. Anything in the 60s is considered very good. It gets very difficult to get beyond that into the 70s. So anything in the 60s means you're engaging, that you're actually taking the time to interact with people. And essentially the idea is it's a measure of your engagement and how well your audience is engaged with you, more importantly. Because you can go out there and talk all day long to other people, but if they're not responding, then my understanding about how Klout works is that you won't necessarily get a good Klout score from that. So again, the key is Klout looks at how does your audience engage with you. So are you putting stuff out there that is engaging, that gets people to want to like it and retweet it and reply to you and talk to you about it? That's the key. So of course the key is you go into Klout and you connect all your social accounts like Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn and Instagram and Foursquare. I don't even know if anybody bothers with that anymore. I certainly don't, but it's connected. It's there. And Tumblr and Google+. So you can connect all your social networks, and that enables Klout to measure because some of us are more active on certain networks than others. So it's important to connect all the networks so that Klout gets a true picture of where you're engaging with your audience and how well you're doing so. And then you can go through Klout, and Klout will kind of give you some ideas. It'll show you the posts that you've done, that you've put out there that have been very, I guess you could say, effective, that a lot of people have interacted on. So it helps you kind of figure out what things are working. Now, of course, the question is, do we pay attention to this? Do we care about Klout? And I'll be very honest in my answer. And this is what I explained in, it was actually a different Facebook group, not Between Wall and Main, where my friend and CPA at Andrew Wall posted this. Do we pay attention to Klout scores? Do we care? My answer there was essentially the following. I don't let myself get too hung up on it. And I, sort of said I use what I call the Seth score. And the Seth score is a measure of what am I getting out of it? Am I getting out of it what I hope to get out of it? And in all likelihood, the more I'm putting into it, the more and the better experience I'm getting out of it. So I kind of gauge it very subjectively based on that. Do I really care what Klout thinks? No, at the end of the day, I really don't. What I care is, am I getting out of this what I hope to get out of it? It's social. It's about interacting with people. It's something that, in my belief, we should be having fun with, not getting obsessed about, oh my God, my Klout score is only in the 50s. What am I going to do? You know what? Just go out there and do what you're supposed to do in social media. Engage with people. Enjoy. Have fun. And invite other people to do the same with you. And then the Klout score will take care of itself. You won't even have to worry about it. So that's kind of my 2 cents or maybe 5 cents worth on Klout scores. I already mentioned the Between Wall and Main group, so I'm not going to mention that again. I'm kind of going through my list of things that I wanted to talk about. Another question that came up here in Between Wall and Main, Marnie Stretch asks, in so many words, how do you respond when somebody is sort of asking you as like a favor to provide the services that you provide, for free or at a discount, right? And a lot of times I know I get this coming up when, if it's a friend who's involved in, let's say, a nonprofit, or it's a friend who's got a startup company and they really don't have a budget to pay me what I normally would charge. And it gets sticky because we don't really want to say no because they're a friend or for whatever the reason, or because it's a nonprofit and we want to help where we can, but we get stuck on this in terms of how to politely, bow out of it and say, look, I wish I could, but I can't afford to, right? And that's kind of what we want to say. So my suggestion on this was that what I often do is I reply with something along the lines of, look, I can appreciate that, you understand that this is really easy for me to do and I can get it done quickly and it's a no-brainer. But here's the thing. It's not just about that. And here's where I'm stuck is how I actually put it when I wrote my actual response to the post, which you can see if you join the Between Wall and Main group, by the way, shameless plug. But essentially I said, here's where I'm stuck is I have clients who pay me a lot of money because they're counting on me to get their work done and get it done on time and do a really good job of it. And it doesn't seem fair for me to push that aside in order to make room for something that's coming in that I'm being asked to do at a discount or worse, for free, right? How's that fair? They're paying a lot of money and they're going to get their sort of quality of service from me diminished because now I'm spreading myself thinner and focusing on something, that I'm not getting paid to do or not getting paid what they're paying me to do. So that's how I like to kind of frame it so that it paints the picture clearly about the value of what I do. And at the same, on the flip side of that coin, if I have a friend, let's say, that I want to hire to do something for me, I have always been of the mindset that I want to make it a point to tell them, look, I don't want any discounts. I don't want any favors. Because I'm your friend, I want you to get paid what you deserve. And I want you to feel that you can focus with its due attention on what I'm asking you to do for me. And the only way I know to make sure that you can do that is to pay you the full amount that you would charge anyone for this. In other words, don't do me any favors, because a lot of times doing me those kinds of favors actually turn out to be not a favor at all, because then, we end up doing these things even though we don't like to think this way. The reality is we end up doing these things with misgivings. We start developing resentments that we're doing this at a discount to what we normally should get paid, and all those kind of thought processes start feeding into our mindset, and that in and of itself diminishes the quality of what we're doing for anyone. You can argue with me all day about it, but the reality is it's true. Like it or not, we're all human. This is how we're wired. Last thing, big conversation going on in Between Wall and Main this week about workflow tools. And so I'm going to be publishing something actually on the BQE software blog, or BQE blog, blog.bqe.com. And I'm going to start by writing a piece distinguishing the difference, from my perspective, of course, between a workflow tool and a project management tool, and the difference between what we're talking about when we're talking about workflow management versus project management. And I think there is an important distinction there, and I think it needs to be understood, especially as we're trying to evaluate which tools we're going to use to handle these things, workflow versus project management. So here's what I encourage you to do, because this is what the Daily Accelerated Growth Call is really all about. Come on over to schoolofanswers.com, sign up for this, because basically what you'll get is a daily call Monday through Thursday. Every day, every one of those days, from 8 a.m. Pacific to 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern to 12 p.m. Eastern. And we'll be able to do exactly what you've seen me lay out here, but of course, in our actual live calls, we'll start digging into some of these tools. We'll go into Klout. We'll look at your Klout score. We'll give you the help that you need to understand how to use and analyze and evaluate these tools to improve your own business or improve your own life at large in terms of whatever experience it is you're hoping to get. I'll help you make sure that your version of my Seth score is the highest it can possibly be by helping to guide you along the lines of the right tools and the right processes, so that you're getting everything you're hoping to get out of what you're putting out there into your business and social media and all the other stuff that we're engaged and doing right here, right now, in this very day, in this very moment. As always, I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day, and I look forward to seeing you on the call.